Hello, everyone. Welcome to the English Chatcast. I'm Ben, and I'm here with my co-host, Anna.
Hi there, I'm Anna, and we're so excited you're here.
You know, Anna, before we dive into today's topic, maybe we should tell our listeners a little bit more about ourselves. I mean, we want to be your English-speaking friends, right? So let's get personal.
I love that idea. Okay, so I'm Anna, and I'm originally from California. I actually grew up speaking both English and Spanish at home because my mom is from Mexico. That's how I first learned that languages are so much more than just grammar rules. They're about connecting with people.
That's beautiful, Anna. And I'm Ben. I'm from Colorado, born and raised. But here's the thing, I actually learned a second language too. I studied Japanese in college, and let me tell you, it was like being thrown into the deep end. But that experience taught me so much about how we really learn languages.
Wait, Ben, you just said thrown into the deep end. I bet our listeners want to know what that means. That's another one of those expressions that sounds scary if you don't know it.
Great catch. Thrown into the deep end means you have to do something difficult without much preparation. Like if you start a new job and they give you the hardest project on your first day. For me, I went to Japan for a summer program, and suddenly I had to use Japanese for everything. Ordering food, asking for directions, making friends. It was scary, but amazing.
Oh, wow. That sounds both terrifying and exciting. Did you make any funny mistakes? I remember when I was learning to speak English more formally in school, I would sometimes mix my Spanish and English together. My friends would laugh, but they always understood me anyway.
Oh, I made so many mistakes. Once I was at a restaurant and I wanted to say water in Japanese, but I accidentally asked for the bathroom instead. The waiter looked so confused. But you know what? Making mistakes is part of learning. It's how we get better. And most people are really kind when you're trying to learn their language.
Exactly. And that's exactly why we love teaching English this way. We want our listeners to feel comfortable making mistakes and learning from real conversations, just like we did. Speaking of which, what do you love most about teaching English, Ben?
You know, what I love most is that aha moment, when someone suddenly understands not just what an expression means, but when to use it. Like when they realize they can say, I'm swamped, instead of I am very busy. It's not just vocabulary, it's like giving them a key to sound more natural and confident.
Oh, there you go again. I'm swamped. Let me guess, it doesn't actually mean you're in a swamp with alligators, right?
Ha! No alligators involved. I'm swamped means you're extremely busy, usually with work or tasks. It's like you're drowning in things to do. So instead of saying, I have many things to do, you can say, sorry, I can't meet for coffee today. I'm totally swamped with work.
I love that. For me, what I enjoy most about teaching is helping people feel confident to actually speak. So many English learners know grammar perfectly, but they're afraid to have real conversations. When I see someone go from nervous to natural in their speaking, it just makes my day.
And that's exactly why this podcast is different from your English textbook. We're here to teach you real English, the kind people actually use every day.
Exactly. Not classroom English, but the English you hear in coffee shops, at work, and with friends.
We want to be your English-speaking friends. Friends who can help you understand how native speakers really talk.
That sounds perfect, Ben. So tell me, why is listening to conversations the best way to learn English?
Great question, Anna. When you listen to real conversations, you learn how English sounds naturally. You hear the rhythm, the pauses, the way we connect words together.
That makes sense.
Plus, in our conversations, we'll talk about everyday things. Things like ordering coffee, talking about the weather, or discussing your weekend plans.
Right, so basically, we're giving our listeners the tools they need for real-life situations.
Exactly. And Anna, when you're learning English like this, it's really a piece of cake.
Wait, Ben, hold on. A piece of cake? I think our listeners might be confused. You're not talking about dessert, are you?
No, Anna. Great catch. A piece of cake is an idiom. It means something is very easy to do.
Ah, I see. So when you say learning English is a piece of cake, you mean it's easy?
That's right. For example, you might say, this math problem is a piece of cake, or cooking pasta is a piece of cake.
Perfect example, Ben. And this is exactly what we'll do in every episode. We'll catch these phrases and explain them simply.
That's our promise to you. We'll help you understand not just what words mean, but how to use them like a native speaker.
Wait, before we wrap up, I have another question for you, Ben. You mentioned ordering coffee earlier. Can you give us a real example of how someone might order coffee using natural English?
Absolutely. So instead of saying, may I please have one large coffee with milk and sugar, which sounds very formal, most people would say something like, can I get a large coffee with cream and sugar? Or even simpler, I'll take a large coffee, cream and sugar.
That's so much more natural. And I noticed you used can I get instead of may I have. That's the kind of difference textbooks don't always teach, right?
Exactly. Can I get is super common in American English. It's casual but still polite. And here's another thing. Native speakers often use contractions. So instead of I will take, we say I'll take. It just flows better.
Speaking of natural conversation, Ben, you just said flows better. Now I'm thinking about another expression our listeners might hear. When someone says they're going with the flow, do you want to explain that one?
Oh, great example. Going with the flow means being flexible and adapting to whatever situation you're in. Like if your friends want to change dinner plans last minute and you say, sure, I'm just going with the flow, you're saying you're okay with the changes.
I love that. So if someone asks you, what do you want to do tonight? And you say, I don't know, I'm just going with the flow. You're basically saying you're relaxed and open to suggestions.
That's perfect, Anna. And you know what? This is exactly why listening to conversations is so valuable. You learn these expressions in context, so you understand not just what they mean, but when and how to use them naturally.
Ben, I just realized our listeners might want to know what we do when we're not teaching English. I mean, what are your hobbies? What do you do for fun?
Oh, great question. I'm really into hiking and photography. Living in Colorado, I'm spoiled for choice with amazing mountain trails. And I love cooking. I'm always experimenting with new recipes. Sometimes they're hits, sometimes they're total disasters. What about you, Anna?
Wait, spoiled for choice. That's another great expression. And I love that you said your recipes are sometimes hits and sometimes disasters. Those are such natural ways to describe things. For me, I love reading mystery novels, and I'm totally obsessed with salsa dancing. It keeps me active and connects me to my Latin roots.
Thanks for catching those. Spoiled for choice means you have so many good options, it's almost too much. And when something is a hit, it means it's successful or popular. Like, that new restaurant is a real hit. But a disaster is, well, the opposite. Like when I tried to make sushi at home and it looked like a tornado hit my kitchen.
Oh my goodness, Ben. Like a tornado hit my kitchen? I can totally picture that. That's such a vivid way to describe a mess. These expressions are exactly what make English so colorful and fun. They paint pictures in our minds, don't they?
Exactly. That's what we want our listeners to do. Start thinking in pictures and feelings, not just dictionary definitions. Speaking of which, Anna, Do you have any advice for our listeners who might be feeling nervous about using these expressions?
Oh, absolutely. First, start small. Pick 1 or 2 expressions you really like and practice using them. Don't try to learn 50 idioms at once. That would be overwhelming. And here's a secret. If you're not sure about an expression, just ask. Most native speakers love explaining these things. We think it's cool that you're interested in learning.
That's perfect advice, Anna. And here's another tip. Pay attention to context. When you hear someone say, I'm swamped, or it's a piece of cake, notice the situation. Are they stressed, relaxed, happy, frustrated? The context tells you so much about when to use these expressions. It's like being a language detective.
I love that. Language detective. That's exactly what good language learners do. And you know what? Don't be afraid to sound a little bit different at first. When I was learning more formal English in school, I sometimes sounded too serious or too casual for the situation. But my English-speaking friends were patient and helped me figure it out.
That reminds me of another common expression our listeners will hear a lot. Don't worry about it. In textbooks, you might learn it's not important or it doesn't matter, but don't worry about it is what people actually say. It's friendly and reassuring, like when someone apologizes for being 5 minutes late to meet you.
Oh, that's so true. And it works in so many situations. Like if someone spills a little coffee or forgets to call you back right away. Instead of saying, it's not a problem, you just say, don't worry about it. It sounds so much more natural and caring.
And here's one more that everyone uses. Running late. Instead of, I am behind schedule, we say, sorry, I'm running late, or I'm running a few minutes behind. It's like time is a race and you're not winning. You'll hear this one constantly in American English.
Yes. And Ben, I love how you said time is a race and you're not winning. That's exactly how these expressions work. They create little pictures that make the meaning stick in your mind. Our listeners should try to collect expressions like this. Write them down, practice them, make them part of your English toolkit.
And hey, we want to hear from you. If there's a specific situation where you're struggling with English, or if you hear an expression you don't understand, let us know. We love getting suggestions from our listeners.
Yes, we're here to help you with real English for real life, whether it's understanding movie dialogue, chatting with English-speaking friends, or feeling confident in business meetings. That's what we're all about.
Well, Anna, I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about today. From personal stories to practical expressions, this has been quite a conversation.
It really has. We've covered so many useful expressions today. Thrown into the deep end, I'm swamped, going with the flow, don't worry about it, and running late. Plus, we talked about why making mistakes is totally normal and how to be a language detective. I hope our listeners are feeling excited to try some of these out. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like and subscribe. Feel free to leave comments about the Chatcast, including topics that you'd like us to have conversations about in future episodes. Until next time, keep practicing, keep listening, and remember, learning English with us is
A piece of cake. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time on the English Chatcast.